I never imagined my quiet, ordinary life would collide with his fast, flashy world. I'm a black woman, raised on strength and survival, and he's a billionaire, raised on power and privilege. Our worlds didn't match, but love found us anyway, in the most unexpected way. If you've ever felt invisible in a world that overlooks you, this story is for you. Like, share, and stay with me to the end, because this isn't just a love story. It's a reminder that being seen, truly seen, can change everything. I'm a black woman, born and raised in a part of the world most people forget unless they need a story about struggle. I come from a place where love looks like survival, where strength isn't optional, and where the world teaches you early that your skin color can speak louder than your voice. I was raised by women who carried too much but still smiled anyway. Women who turned scraps into Sunday dinners, who made a way out of no way, and who never let me forget that I was enough, even when the world tried to say otherwise. I learned how to be strong before I learned how to be soft. I knew how to protect my heart before I ever knew what it meant to open it. Where I come from, we didn't have time for fairy tales. Love wasn't roses and grand gestures. It was your mother staying up late, braiding your hair for school. It was your grandmother humming gospel songs while the lights got cut off. Love was tough, but it was real. As a little girl, I used to wonder if I'd ever get the kind of love I saw in movies. The slow dances, the whispered promises, the feeling of being chosen. But as I got older, I started to believe maybe that kind of love wasn't made for girls like me. Maybe it wasn't made for black women who are loud when they need to be, soft only when it feels safe, and tired of bending just to be seen. But something in me held on, not to the fantasy, but to the possibility. The quiet, stubborn hope that someday someone would see me. Not as something to fix, not as someone to conquer, but simply as someone to love. The first time I saw him, I didn't even know who he was. No entourage, no flash, just a quiet man in a tailored suit, standing alone like the room didn't know what to do with him. Later I found out he was a billionaire. You'd think I'd have noticed that, right? But all I saw was someone who looked tired, not just physically, but soul deep, like someone who had everything money could buy except peace. His world? It was loud, fast, expensive. Planes, meetings, headlines. Always moving, always calculating. People called him visionary, untouchable, the future. I watched the way others leaned in when he spoke, the way women adjusted their dresses when he walked by, the way men tried too hard to impress him. It was a world built on image, power, performance, and I didn't belong in it. Our lives couldn't have been more different. I was used to showing up early, keeping my head down, earning respect the hard way. He was used to the room waiting for him. I worked in the background, handling logistics at an event where he happened to be the keynote speaker. He noticed me, not in the typical ego-driven way. He asked my name like he really wanted to know it, and when I answered, he smiled, not because he was flirting, but like he recognized something. I didn't think much of it at first. Rich men notice things, then forget. That's just how it goes. But he kept showing up. Not just in rooms, but in conversation. He asked about my work, my thoughts, my life. No one like him had ever done that before. He lived in a world where everything could be bought. But somehow it felt like he was searching for something he couldn't find on any receipt. The real connection didn't happen over candlelight or some big dramatic moment. It started quietly, in between conversations that didn't feel like small talk. He'd stop by events I worked, sometimes just to say hello, sometimes for longer. We started talking, not about money or success, but about things that actually mattered. Life, loneliness, identity. He was curious in a way that caught me off guard. He'd ask questions that made me think, and then actually listen to the answers. No interrupting, no correcting, just listening. That was new for me. There was one night, I remember it clearly, We were sitting outside after a gala, shoes off, sipping warm wine from paper cups. He asked me, "Do you ever feel like people love what you represent but not who you are?" And I laughed, but not because it was funny. I laughed because that was the most honest thing anyone had asked me in a long time. We were different, yes. But in that moment, we were just two people tired of pretending. I told him about growing up feeling unseen, even in rooms full of people. He told me about growing up in a house with marble floors but no warmth. I told him what it meant to carry generations of strength on your back. He told me what it meant to carry expectations so heavy. You forget your own name. That night changed something. It wasn't romance, not yet. It was something deeper, a recognition, like we were two souls who had survived different storms but carried the same kind of silence inside. And the crazy part, he didn't try to fix me. He didn't try to impress me. He just saw me. And I saw him too, even the parts he'd spent a lifetime hiding. Falling for him wasn't some fairy tale moment. It was confusing, terrifying, and real. Because as close as we were becoming, I kept waiting for the ground to fall out. I questioned everything. Why me? Why now? I wasn't the kind of woman his world was used to. I didn't wear designer. I didn't speak with polished restraint. I was layered, loud when I needed to be, and unapologetically black. And part of me feared I would never truly fit into his world. And he struggled too. He was used to control, to people needing something from him. But I didn't need him. Not his name, not his wealth, not his lifestyle. I needed honesty. And that scared him. Because I didn't see him as a billionaire. I saw the man beneath it all. And when someone really sees you, you either run or you stay. There were moments I pulled away, out of fear, out of self-protection. I told myself he'd eventually go back to his type, the polished woman with perfect manners and a last name that echoed through boardrooms. And he did pull back sometimes too, like he wasn't sure if he could handle all of me. My truth, my fire, my softness when it finally showed. But even in the distance, we kept coming back to each other. Every time we walked away, something pulled us closer again. It wasn't easy, it was uncomfortable, raw, honest, but it was ours. There were no grand gestures, no sweeping declarations, just small moments that kept adding up. A hand on my back when I was overwhelmed, a look that said, "I see you." A message on the hardest days, "I'm here if you want to talk." That's what made it real. Love wasn't loud between us, but it was steady, and that's what made it stay. The shift didn't happen all at once. It was quiet, like when you wake up one morning and realize the pain that used to live in your chest has started to fade. We weren't just talking anymore, we were growing, together, and not in the way people post about online. There were no filtered photos, no hashtags, just real moments shared in silence and trust. I remember the first time he said, "You make me feel human." He didn't mean it as flattery, he meant it as truth. He told me how, for so long, he'd been surrounded by people who only saw his money, his power, what he could do for them. But around me, he didn't have to perform. He could just be. And I was changing too. I started to believe I didn't have to carry the whole world on my back to be worthy of love. That I could let someone in without losing myself. I didn't shrink for him. I didn't play small to make him comfortable. I stayed whole. And instead of walking away, he stepped closer. He started doing things differently. Not because I asked him to, but because he wanted to. He listened more. He moved slower. He started noticing the things most people overlook, like how I pause before speaking when something matters, or how I trace the rim of my coffee cup when I'm nervous. That's when I knew this wasn't about wealth or status or any of the things people thought made him special. It was about him finally learning how to feel. And me? I was learning how to let someone love me without conditions, without fear. We weren't perfect, but something was changing. And for the first time, I wasn't afraid to see where it might go. We didn't fall in love, we chose it, over and over again, through the noise, the doubt, and the uncomfortable in-betweens. There was no perfect moment where everything made sense. There were only real ones, messy, beautiful, human. When we finally decided to be all in, it wasn't just about romance. It was about honesty, about saying, I see you, all of you, and I'm not going anywhere. It wasn't easy. Not everyone understood us. His world had opinions, loud ones, people who whispered behind our backs or smiled too wide to hide what they really thought. A black woman with him? I wasn't the image they had in mind. And from my side, I got questions too. About trusting a man with so much power, about losing myself in his shadow. But they didn't see what I saw. They didn't know the nights we stayed up talking about legacy and healing, or the quiet mornings we spent in sweatpants, sipping tea, just breathing. He stood by me in public when it would have been easier not to, not with a statement, but with his presence, with how he'd reach for my hand when the cameras flashed, or how he'd gently step aside so I could speak first in a room full of egos. I never wanted to be a symbol, he never wanted to be saved, but somehow we found healing in each other. Not through perfection, but through presence, through staying, through trying. And maybe that's what real love looks like. Not sweeping declarations, but two people choosing each other fully, every day, even when the world gives them every reason not to. We didn't fall into this. We walked toward it, together. This isn't just about me and him. This is about what it means to be seen, fully, in a world that often looks past people like me. It's about being loved without needing to shrink. It's about reminding every black woman listening right now that you are not too much. You are not too complicated. You are not too loud or too deep or too soft. You are exactly what this world needs. But it has to rise to meet you, not the other way around. Our story isn't perfect, but it's proof that love doesn't have to look the way they told us it should. You don't need to come from wealth or be polished to fit someone else's image or speak quieter just to be accepted. You only need to be true. And the right person, the one who's done their own work, who's ready to unlearn, to grow, to love you in real time, they will see you, the real you. He didn't rescue me, I didn't change him. We both chose to show up for something deeper than what the world told us we deserved. And in that we found peace, we found partnership, we found home. So if you've ever wondered if your story matters, it does. If you've ever doubted whether love like this is possible, it is. Not because of a title or a bank account, but because you are worthy of being loved exactly as you are. Tell your story, speak your truth. Because when you show up as your full self, you don't just find love, you give others permission to believe in it too. If this story moved you, share it. Tell your story, be proud of your voice, and never let anyone tell you you're too much or not enough. Hit that subscribe button, and let's keep building a world where every woman is seen, loved, and heard.